friends. This is Chip Terry. You're listening to Braves Banter on the Seamheads National Podcasting Network.
Braves Banter on the Seamheads National Podcasting Network. I'm your host, Dan Schlossberg. Artie Minsky is off this week. We talk Braves baseball every Thursday at 7 o'clock East Coast time. Call us at 347-945-7172 or contact us through the Braves Banter Facebook page. Our guests tonight on Braves Banter are Leslie Koerdt, who covers the Braves for Aries Sports, and BC Clemmons, creator and administrator of the Tomahawk Chat webpage. Leslie, we've had you on before, and welcome back. And BC, thanks for joining us and bringing along a bunch of followers from your website. Welcome, both of you.
Thanks for having us. It's great to be back.
BC? Okay, it's great. Leslie, let's start with you. Tell our listeners what Aries Sports is and exactly what you do for them.
Aries Sport is a combination of female sports writers from across the country, every sport, every team, and we do allow the guys to write for our site, but each site was originally started by a female sports writer or sports broadcaster. So I am in charge of the Atlanta Braves site for Aries.
Okay. All right, BC, I want to throw the same question your way. What is Tomahawk Chat? How did you get started, and how many people follow the page?
Tomahawk Chat is a Facebook group page. A few of us have known each other from other Braves pages and groups. We got tired of all the consistently negative Braves pages that are out there, so I started one with a mission statement. Basically, if you're only dealing with bringing negativity all the time, this group's not for you. We don't want you. We don't need you. I mean, we get bummed out enough as it is, you know. The group has about 25 members. We have a small but a good community going.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way everybody's almost second-guessing Freddie. I mean, we all love the Braves. We all love Freddie Gonzalez. But everybody, I mean, you can't resist second-guessing, you know. People in Brooklyn, when the Dodgers were in Brooklyn, they used to come back from Ebbets Field saying, he should have done this, he should have done that. It's easy to do that, right? Since we're just about in midseason now, are you pleased or disappointed with the 2013 Braves? Leslie, you first, and then BC.
I don't think we've seen this Braves team hit their potential yet. Obviously, BJ Upton, this is not the start that anybody expected or would have liked to have seen. The injuries, how many 22-year-olds have an emergency appendicitis? And
right.
Just one thing after another. When two of your biggest bullpen arms are out for the season, got Brandon Beachy coming back. What I hate to hear worse than anything is ahead of schedule. Nobody comes back from Tommy John in less than a year, and whenever we get our hopes up and start saying, oh, look at this, he's coming back, everybody's done that on their road back, and something always happens. So I think it was very smart of Freddie not to announce a plan because, you know, you don't want to set up somebody to say, all right, you're coming out of the rotation, or you're going to stay in the pen. It's just been a lot of crazy things happening, but at the same time, there have been stories that no one expected to the good. Who would have thought Evan Gattis was coming out of nowhere? We're looking at a kid that was just so excited to make the team, and look what he's done. Honestly, we could be looking at him in the home run derby had he not had the oblique injury. So
That's
I think there are a lot of great things that have happened. I wouldn't call this a disappointment, but I would say that they have not reached their potential yet. So I think that's a very positive thing. With everyone coming back from the DL, and second day in a row, Evan Gattis has had another great BP session, and by all accounts felt good today after yesterday's session. And that's the most important thing when you're coming off an injury like that, not how you feel while you're doing it, but how you feel the next day. So
that's for sure.
I think it's a lot of positive, and to be this far up, we could be looking at a Braves team that goes wire to wire. that's going to be a very positive thing for the fans because, quite honestly, nobody wants to see another one-game playoff. That would be a very big disappointment.
I agree. BC, what about you? What do you think?
I've been mostly pleased. Sure, there's some areas for improvement, but the Braves are in first place, which is better than last year at this time. It has not always been pretty. We've had guys struggle, yet others pick them up, and that's really what a team does. The bottom line right now, got to be pleased. The Braves are in first place.
That's for sure. Of the All-Star team, what was your reaction when you found out that Craig Kimbrell initially was the only Braves player on the team? And obviously Freddie Freeman is there now, but he had to win that Final Five. I mean, didn't the Braves deserve more than one guy? I mean, they're the team with the biggest divisional lead. What do you think, Leslie?
There was a part of me that was very shocked, and then there was a part of me that kind of had that, well, okay, there's that Atlanta disrespect. You know, a lot of Atlanta fans, not just Braves fans, have a chip on their shoulders. We don't get any respect. We don't get this. We don't get that. But, you know, part of that comes from the market size. I mean, granted, yes, Atlanta itself is a top 10 market, but when you're competing against ESPN, the worldwide leader, Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, it's not really a big surprise that a lot of people didn't even realize the Braves were in first place. And that's what you get when you make it a popularity contest. That's the problem that I have with discounting for home field advantage in the World Series. If you're going to make it a popularity contest and you're going to make it just about who has the most media coverage nationwide, then it should not make a difference in who has home field advantage. It's too big and too important to allow market share to decide that. So I was disappointed, definitely. I really would have liked to have seen a Mike Minor also make the team. But again, when you're looking at pitchers, you're looking at manager selection, and that's why you've got giants on there that aren't having such a great year. So
yeah, I know who you mean. Okay, BC, what do you think about it?
Well, personally, I'm not real put off by it. I look at the Braves' success in the first half as a team effort. The only really consistent everyday player for that whole time has been Freddie Freeman, who we learned today will be on that All-Star team. That being said, the Braves have a host of players that have had their moments, and even some that have struggled have had their moments. So, you know, I'm not really tore up by it, you know, but I'm happy that Freddie got on there today, no doubt.
Okay. Which Braves, I mean, Leslie, you kind of mentioned it with Mike Minor, but which Braves got the biggest snubs? I mean, Freeman for not being selected originally, or Evan Gattis, even though he's on the DL now, or Minor? Who do you think? Leslie?
Well, I think performance-wise, I would have to say that it would have to be Mike Minor. And, you know, as we touched on at the beginning of the show, the Braves have gotten their production, and they've gotten this lead based on a team effort, and it's come from a variety of places, and that has something to do with why you don't have position players that are burning up the numbers, because when you're platooning at third base, which honestly at the beginning of the season I thought was the biggest mistake ever, but then you've got Chris Johnson batting in the eighth hole and batting .335. You know, again, Freddie Freeman would be the one that you would say would have been the snub. Now, today, Braves fans across the nation, and I think also as it combating the ESPN push for Puig, I think the whole country just kind of pushed back on that to help get him into the All-Star game. But again, had Justin Upton stayed as hot as he was, that it would have been the one that I would have thought in the first month and a half of the season that we would see in.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. BC, what do you think about it?
Well, I thought when they did the reserves, Freddie should have gotten it from the get-go. But as far as Minor goes, I'm kind of okay with our starting pitchers not going there. Honestly, I'd rather him just have the rest and, you know, be ready for that second half of the season. I guess I'm kind of looking big picture here, but you know, I'm not really worried about Freddie going or even Kimbrell going. But I'm not real upset that Mike Minor didn't go, although he's done great. So, I mean, I don't want to disrespect him either. But he's done great. But I'm all right with it. I mean, I'm just so tickled that Freddie got it over, ESPN's poster child there. I'm just tickled about that.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Leslie, did you have something to add?
I just think that what he said about the rest is so very important. It is a great honor to be selected as an all-star. But after these guys have done it, especially when they get further along in their careers, I think that we don't pay enough attention to what kind of grueling schedule this is. We've just gotten so used to their world-class athletes. They should be performing every day. But when you think about it, when you start your season in March and you're hopefully going to be playing the 1st of November, you need that time off. And again, just like you said, when you're looking big picture, sometimes you've got to look past it. And again, to me, if it's going to be a popularity vote, it's a nice honor, but you can't get upset about it.
Yeah, it's true. Who would you say is the first half MVP for the Braves, Leslie?
Well, that's a tough one because, again, with so many guys pitching in, I think the most uplifting person you would have to say would be Evan Gattis.
Yes.
But you look at Freddie Freeman, who had his stint on the DL, and he's still coming back, and he is just coming on full force. You can't discount what Andrelton Simmons does defensively for the Braves, in which I think we are very fortunate to see this kid come up and see some of the plays that he makes every night. And, hopefully you're going to be seeing him for years to come because it's pretty darn amazing, some of the things we get to see on a daily basis. You look at a team that is truly a team, and it's really hard to pick just one guy and say, okay, we can't do it without him, because that's not been the case with this team, because they've had to do it without Freeman. They've had to do it without Gattis. They've done it without McCann. They started the season without him. And it's one of those things that it's definitely been a team effort.
Well said. BC, what do you think?
I would go with Freddie Freeman, and here's why. And the points that Leslie made are great, and they're spot on. But I would say Freddie, because when it got to a point where the opposing manager publicly said, we're not going to let him beat us. So, I mean, that's like ultimate respect in my book. So, to me, and he was the most consistent from, yes, he had that time on the DL, but I think he came back, hitting the ground running. So, I think he would be my MVP.
Okay, and my vote goes to Craig Kimbrell only because opposing managers know that if they don't have the lead after 8 innings, they're in big trouble. So, and I think the same was true last year, even more so last year when he seemed to be a bit sharper than he is this year, but I hope that'll change. Okay, I'm going to tell our listeners that you're listening to Braves Banter on the Seamheads National Podcasting Network with Dan Schlossberg and special guests Leslie Koerdt and BC Clemmons. Hear us every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Call us at 347-945-7172 or contact us on Facebook through the Braves Banter page. Got to ask you guys, there's no question in my mind that B.J. Upton was the biggest disappointment. What do you think accounted for his terrible debut? BC, we'll start with you this time.
Well, there is absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind that B.J. has been a major disappointment. I would like to think of him switching leagues. He surely wouldn't be the first player to switch leagues and struggle for a while. Albert Pujols did it. I mean, I'm I hate to say this because it's so like Homer-ish, but I want to see how he does in the second half. Now, if he doesn't kick it up and do better, then I think we all got to hold his feet to the fire a little bit more. But I gave him a little bit of space, but I mean that rope is quickly running out. Okay,
Leslie, your opinion.
I have to agree with BC on this because there is a lot to be said for knowing a pitcher and being able to know what he's going to throw you and face that. And when you switch leagues, it is a very very difficult thing to do. And it's why you get, it's why you see these rookies come out on fire, because the pitchers don't know how to throw to them. Well, it's the same thing for a hitter. And I think that we have seen some really good sparks from BJ. We've seen him make adjustments. And, there are some things that bother me with the strikeouts that you see on this Braves team with BJ and Justin and Dan Ugla. And they will have to make a fundamental adjustment in how they approach the plate, because when they go up there and just free swing, you're going to have these strikeouts. And I am not of the mindset that a strikeout is the same as any other out. And that's the difference that I have started to see out of BJ, is you're seeing some productive outs. He's moving runners along. He's getting on base. He's starting to do those things that make you think that he's about to turn that corner. So again, I'm very optimistic with that, and it's just, again, when you watch these guys do unreal things every day and they get paid a whole lot of money to do it, you just expect them not to have any downtime. But they're human. There are adjustments, and there is an adjustment time that comes along with that.
Do you think that having the Upton brothers together was a plus or a minus? I mean, if they're feeding off each other and one of them is slumping, maybe that's why Justin also went into a slump. What do you think about that, Leslie?
Well, I looked at it as a positive, and who knows what the real answer is. I looked at it as a positive because I know when things are going crazy in my life, and I've got my brother or my friends or anybody else that knows me well enough to know what I need to do to fix it, it's a heck of a lot easier if they're standing right there next to you to say, hey, look, you may get really ticked off at them, and you may not like what they have to say, but you know that it's coming from a good place. And I really think that, maybe it did put some more pressure on Justin, but I don't think it could have been anything but a positive.
BC, you agree with that too?
I really don't know, to be honest with you, if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I just let's see how the second half goes, and who knows, they could both catch on fire, and it could be the story of baseball. Right now, it's been like Justin was 1 month, April without him, who knows where the Braves would have been. Let's be honest. He hasn't done it since, but this is a long season, and, as much as there's nobody who likes DJ Upton struggling, nobody as a Braves fan, but you got to have that hope that he will turn it around, because he can be an offensive force. Last year, I believe in the second half, he hit 20-something home runs. Imagine that in our lineup. If that happens this year, we're going to be dancing in the streets in October.
That's for sure. In fact, I'm glad you answered the question that way, because my next question is, what are your predictions for the second half? Will the Nationals remain the toughest opponent? Are the Phils going to catch up? BC, let's go with you first this time.
Okay, I would never underestimate a team like the Nationals. They do have good pitching, and I know that every time the Braves slip up and lose a couple of games and the Nationals win, and we're going like, oh boy, here they come. Well, guess what? They lose 2 games, we win 2 games, and next thing you know, we're right back to 6-game lead. And that's the way it's been all year. So the Nationals say that they've got a run in them. I would say they better hope that the Braves don't get a run in them, because if they get too far back, they're not going to make it. And I will say one more thing. As long as Dan Herring is pitching for the Nationals, the Braves are in good shape, because that's an automatic loss right there, generally.
Yeah, even though he has a great first name, but we won't get into that. But anyway. Okay, Leslie, what do you think? Second half.
Well, what we said earlier with all these, the Braves have, the way I look at it, the Braves have this lead in spite of injuries, in spite of slumps, in spite of all these strikeout. And I think that, again, we could see him go wire to wire. There is definitely the potential there to do that. And I really think that we're going to see a postseason run. Now, they cannot get to the postseason and have all these strikeouts. They're going to have to figure out a way, and this is what I know that a lot of Braves fans don't want to hear this. This is where you have to give Freddie credit, because he realizes he has got to find a way around that, and this is where you see the squeeze plays and the manufacturing of runs come into play. And there is no reason why this team should not go deep in the postseason.
I've got two words for you. Jordan Schaefer. What do you think?
I am very glad to see that he has grown up. And quite honestly, whenever I first saw they brought him back, I just kind of rolled my eyes, because it's not something that I thought was a good move. But then I thought, oh, well, he's not going to make the team. And when come time for spring training rolls around, he gets there, comes in on two wheels, just barely in time to make it. It's really not something that I thought was going to be a good thing. But he has really shown that he has grown up so much, and he's learned his role. And that's one thing. I had a discussion earlier today. Jordan Schaefer, it took him a long time to learn his role, because he thought he would come in here and be a power hitter, and that's not what he is. And that's not what he's meant to do. That's not what he can do long term at this level. But he has come in and learned what he needs to do, how he needs to approach it, and he's doing that, and he's doing it very well.
Okay, I've got to ask both of you this before we go. We only have a few minutes left. Brian McCann, Paul Maholm, and Tim Hudson are all free agents after the season. Should the team move any of them before July 31st? Leslie?
I'm going to say no. And maybe that's just me being a Hudson fan, and yes, he has given up already 2 runs tonight. But I think that one thing that this team has to have, we've seen some young people really step up on this team, but you've got to have that leadership of Tim Hudson. Paul Maholm has been your steadiest pitcher. He had a bad game yesterday, but he has been a go-to player. Brian McCann, I have 2 different opinions. No, I do not think he should be traded right now, but I do not think that the Braves should give him the money that he is going to make next year.
Okay. Let me ask BC his answer, because we're running out of time here. BC, what do you think?
Not
keep him or trade him?
I would say no if I don't know what we're going to get. Of course, if the deal's overwhelming, sure, anybody can be traded, but if it's just to get rid of them, no.
Okay. Last question. The Braves have one of the youngest teams in the major leagues, with Julio Teheran, Andrelton Simmons, Freddie Freeman, Jason Hayward, and Justin Upton, all 25 or under. Does this team get better as it gains experience? Leslie?
Absolutely. There's no reason for them not to.
BC?
I agree. When you have young talent like this, they can only get better by playing together, and so far so good. So, what else can you say?
That's great. BC, what is the name of the Braves website again?
Okay.
Your website.
The name of the Facebook group is Tomahawk Chat. I am, of course, on Facebook if anybody wishes to message or contact me.
Okay, and Leslie, Erie Sports, there's a website there too, right? Thank you both, Leslie Koerdt and BC Clemmons of Tomahawk Chat. Thank you for joining us on Braves Banter. It was a real pleasure having you both. I wish we had more time, but we don't. That's it for this week on Braves Banter. Join us again next Thursday at 7 when our guest will be Steve Garvey talking great Braves past and present. See our Facebook page for future announcements of future shows. Now, this is Dan Schlossberg thanking you for your time. This time, until next time, good night.